Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Starr. Today is Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. All right, well, welcome, everyone. I will start with our commissioner roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us this morning?
Oops.
Commissioner Bell, if you are responding, you are muted. Okay, I am not seeing her this morning. Commissioner Yamamoto, are you with us this morning?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we will jump right in with Adventist Health Tillamook, although I have this tickling feeling in my brain that I saw an email this weekend that he couldn't be here. So I'm going to give him one chance here. Okay, we're going to actually head right into the Coastal Caucus, and we're exceptionally lucky this morning in spite of the very, very busy schedule at the Capitol. Senator Weber had a brief opening this morning, and she's agreed to join us and let us know what's happening in Salem. So, Senator Weber, please take the floor.
Oh my goodness, it feels so good to be back. Thank you very much. I hope I'm being heard.
You are, thank you.
Oh, good. I'm usually not available at this time because I've got an 8 o'clock Education Ways and Means meeting every day, every morning. And we are currently hearing reports from education-related agencies from preschool all the way to university. And we will be beginning to look at the governor's budget soon. We'll probably spend from 6 weeks to 2 months analyzing the education part of the budget. And so I find this really interesting to see what kind of money is being designated for what issues relating to education especially. My two other committees are Human Services and Education, and I'm the Vice Chair of Education. And in both committees, we are starting to hear bills. We had an extended hearing yesterday on two bills that are hoping to achieve the same thing. They were Senate Bill 91 and Senate Bill 646. And during COVID, we had a special... we had people with medically fragile children who needed additional help to care for them. And the state solved the problem with additional monies by paying the parents to, instead of bringing strangers into the homes, to be able to care for these medically compromised children. And so both of these bills hope to continue to be able to provide that for these children. The thing that they discovered was that it really enhanced their lives, and being at home and being taken care of by their parents, it really kept them out of the hospital, out of the emergency rooms, kept them healthier, and it just is such a good idea to be able to do that for those children. And so those two bills will probably have amendments to both of them, and we will also be looking at them again. In education today, we have 5 public hearings. The length of a public hearing is determined by the number of folks who wish to testify. And the usual time for testimony is 2 to 3 minutes, and you can also submit written testimony. And remember, you can always go to OLIS, find the committees, find the times, and find the manner that you can work towards submitting testimony if you have especially strong opinions on any of these bills. This is an opportunity for your voice to be heard and for you to pay attention to things that are happening in your state, in your legislature. And I really, when we're speaking about education, there's some things I want to highlight, and one of them is to acknowledge Chet Hollett and all that he has done for Tillamook High School. When I realized that he had contributed right around $20,000 to the sports program, especially at Tillamook High School, just by collecting cans at a nickel apiece. What dedication. Thank you, Chet, for doing that. I also want to highlight the fact that Charity Drive is beginning, and I plan to announce that on the floor of the Senate. In the time that I was in the House of Representatives, I made the House of Representatives very aware of all that was going on with Charity Drive, and especially the amount of money that the folks in Tillamook contribute to Charity Drive, and all that it benefits all of the people who live here. And then I also want to express my condolences to the families of two amazing educators who served the children of Tillamook very well, and that is with the passing of Tom Ginger and Elizabeth Landis. They made a mark on many, many, many children in our community, and their families will mourn them, and we as a community will mourn them and thank them for all the service that they gave. I also had several visits from their board members from the district yesterday, and they are in Salem right now for their meetings. And because I was in committee last night, I wasn't able to go and participate, but I sent my staff, and it was a good reception for all the Fair Board members, and I thank all of our Fair Board members for representing our community in Salem. Our fairs really have a positive impact on our area, and we need to continue to support them. The other thing I want to say is I'm sorry I won't be in Pacific City today for the chamber meeting, but I know that if Doug comes on and he talks about the agenda, he's got some very interesting things that are going on in Pacific City with events, and I think people should, start paying attention to that too. I'm hoping that I'll be able to continue. If you decide to change the date and the time, please let me know, because I would really like to be involved in being able to report to the community what's going on in Salem, because all of these things, there's like 4,000 bills. These could impact you in ways that, you need to know about. So thank you for letting me do this morning, and be well, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. Appreciate you being with us. Does anyone have a question for the Senator before we let her go? Okay, not hearing any. I'm just going to jump on real quick to her. She talked about testifying and how easy that is, and I would like to second that. I had the opportunity last week to go to the OLIS system. I signed up to testify virtually and was able to testify to the Transportation Committee regarding House Bill 2101, which is in support of a partnership program between ODOT and the counties, in which we are able to exchange some of the federal funds that we receive for state funds, which are much, much easier for us to use as a small county. Federal funds are extremely challenging for us, but for ODOT, they're much easier to use because they are already set up with all of the mechanisms needed to jump through the many hoops of federal money. But my point in talking about that was I was able to testify. It was extremely easy to do. I did it on my computer via the Teams app. You could also do it by telephone, and you can always submit written testimony through OLIS. So I do encourage you to pay attention to what's happening in the legislature. Your fellow commissioners and myself will do our best to make sure you know what bills are coming through that have impact in our community, just as Senator Weber will, as she's able to be in touch with us all. She has a newsletter that she sends out, and so I encourage you, if you're not signed up for her newsletter, to do so. Representative Javity also has a newsletter that he is sending out, and so I encourage you to sign up for both of those, which will let you know what's coming up that may be critical for you to participate in at the state legislative level. I don't believe that Representative Javity was able to join us this morning, but I'm going to throw a shout out just in case he was and I didn't know it. Okay. Not hearing him, we will go ahead and move on through our community updates. Do we have Ed Colson with us from the Tillamook County Community Health Center this morning?
Yes, we do. Ed Colson's here with the Health Department. Good morning, Tillamook County.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. As of February 1st, Tillamook County had 17 new cases of COVID-19 and a test positivity rate of 34.04% that was measured over the past week for Tillamook County to meet high transmission levels. However, community level of disease impact is low, with 3.9 new COVID-19 cases admitted to the hospital and 0.4% per 100,000 staffed inpatient beds being occupied by a confirmed COVID-19 patient. Now, Tillamook County Public Health is going to transition away from including the weekly case reports of COVID-19 in this community update, as cases and hospitalizations have declined and the public has the information and tools to protect themselves. We're going to be aligning resources with other public health needs. But we're going to continue to monitor cases, deaths, hospitalizations, variants, vaccination and booster rates, and other developments, and keep the links current on our website to the current CDC data tables. With this community report opportunity, our goal is to now bring awareness to health and wellness initiatives and other public health priorities. Saturday, February 11th, we are going to be hosting a children's dental and immunization clinic at our main 9th Street clinic from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is going to be a walk-in clinic. No appointments are going to be needed. We're going to be offering dental screenings, fluoride varnish, dental care coordination, and childhood immunizations. And we have been discussing this over the past few weeks, but the Tooth Fairy is coming, and they're going to be present. She's going to be present handing out goodie bags and posing for photo ops. Now, just a reminder, statewide school exclusion day is February 15th. Parents will need to provide immunization records to schools and daycare facilities. Letters from our office have already gone out. If there's any questions, you can call our public health nurse line. It's at 503-842-2356, and that's our update for the health department.
Thank you, Ed. Does anybody have a question for Ed before we move along? Okay, not hearing any, we will move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a few brief announcements. Speaking of legislation, excuse me, we're drafting letters in support of Oregon Senate Bill 523 that will ensure Tillamook Bay Community College can offer a BSN degree through their planned nursing program. This bill, if approved, will go a long way towards helping solve the RN shortage in the area, our area particularly, and across Oregon. And speaking of healthcare worker shortages, we still have a number of job openings, so if you know of someone who has a passion for helping people and is interested in joining the team at the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, please direct them to our website, nehalembayhealth.org. And, of course, still working through all the fine details of the name change. Thank you once again, everyone, for patience as we work through the situation and transition. So, in closing, we're here to serve you. If you're interested in scheduling an appointment with one of our medical providers, including behavioral health, please call 800-368-5182 for more information or to schedule an appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Okay, moving on. Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank, are you with us today?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Frank Cannon Williams, Director of the Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. You can reach us at 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851 for information about services, information regarding appointments, or any other issues or concerns that you may have that are of a behavioral health concern in nature, and we'd be more than happy to talk with you. I would also like to say that we also have a number of job openings And if you would take a visit to our website at tfcc.org, there is a page which describes a little bit about the current openings that we have, and if there is anyone who might be so inclined to take a look and find out about that. So, again, 503-842-8201 for agency information, or 1-800-962-2851. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. I'm going to throw one at you real quick. There's a lot of conversation. I was at AOC over the last Friday and Monday and talking about in the Health and Human Services Committee of AOC about the 988 crisis line. And is that active in Tillamook County?
The 988 crisis line is active at all places across the county, across the state. And there's a little bit of a description. If you go to our website, there is a description about what 988 is and what it isn't, and that I think will be helpful. While it is active, there hasn't been a lot of activity on 988 in relation to persons in the county calling about that. However, we have met fairly recently with Lines for Life. And Lines for Life is the entity statewide that really is sort of the go-between, the format in which people may call 988 and get information. And we met with them fairly recently to sort of get a little bit of a sense that from them what it is that they need when they receive the 988 call. So. In answer to your question, Commissioner Scar, yes, it is active, and I think that statewide, that without having any making any negative comments, is that it was a very heavy lift and needed a little bit of work. But yes, you would get a response if you called 988. For the most part, there'll be someone who answers that call from Lines for Life who will kind of take the information, and their job is to make sure that the information gets to the local crisis response in the county. So while you may be talking to someone from Lines for Life, they will then be passing that information on to the Tillamook County mobile crisis response line. So it really kind of works that way, and if you go to the website, there's a bit of a description about it, and if people have questions, I'll be more than, we'd be more than happy to answer them here. But yes, we are connected.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So it's, there's been that effort made to separate calls for someone who is having a crisis related to their mental health from a law enforcement response if a law enforcement response is not needed. And I think that's really the intent of 988. And I want people to recognize and realize what it does and doesn't do, as Frank has suggested. So I do encourage people to learn a bit about 988. Check out the information on the Tillamook Family Counseling Center website. But do know that we do have that crisis response active in Tillamook County. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, Commissioner Scott, the intent there is to not give people the impression that 988 means this whole set of other individuals that is going to respond, and that is not the intent. There's not the bandwidth, and there's not the intent to do that. And I think that has been part of the confusion. And the intent is to take information, do some triage, and get you connected to what's in your community. And that is the ultimate goal.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Okay, moving on. We have the sheriff. Do we have the sheriff this morning? Sheriff Brown or Under Sheriff Matt Kelly?
Good morning. This is Sheriff Brown.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. Nothing major to update. We have put out all the information on our hiring event onto our social media pages. That will be held February 16th and 17th. The 16th is going to be reserved for testing. That's the post-test, which is a high school equivalency. And then followed by that will be the ORPAT, which is a physical fitness type test. It's running an obstacle course essentially. Those who are selected to advance will be offered interview times for the next day, the 17th. And we're hoping that this recruitment event can actually give us a good boost in some quality candidates. So if you know anybody that is interested in joining our team or interested in law enforcement, or maybe is already a law enforcement but is looking to move to the coast or move to a very good and supportive sheriff's office, please let them know or direct them to our page. Check-in will be at 8:30. The testing will start around 9 a.m. You'll need to bring identification with you, and you'll have to apply online at the Tillamook County website. So other than that, I don't have anything really major to update, and I can take any questions if need be.
Wonderful, thank you. Questions for the sheriff? Okay, not hearing any. Thank you for being here. We'll move on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe, are you with us this morning?
There we go. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. I thought I saw you there. I was going to wait a minute for you.
Yeah. I was hoping to have some good reporting on an activity from yesterday, but the military decided that it was the weather wasn't good enough for them to do a practice drop here. We had scheduled it was kind of a training exercise with both the United States Army and the Washington National Guard. They were going to do a test resupply drop here at the airport, basically a post-Cascadia training exercise. But unfortunately, their helicopters got grounded and we weren't able to pull that one off. So hopefully it'll be rescheduled, is what I'm hoping, because it's kind of would have been a fun thing to see happen, and it's also, I think that it's solidifying Tillamook County being a major player in any type of resupplying here on the West Coast during and after a major event. So hopefully I'll be able to report on that pretty soon, but that's all I have. Drive safely out there in this rainy weather, and that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Yeah, and I do hope that if we have a Cascadia event, it's on a sunny day. Apparently that is going to be could be an issue for us at the coast. So I think that for me was a very interesting learning about yesterday's intent to practice the drop. Was yesterday, as we know here on the coast, was just sort of a mildly cloudy, rainy day. Certainly wasn't the worst of what we could see. So I think we're reminded how tentative getting services to the coast will be in the event of a major emergency, and reminding us all to be prepared in our own homes with our own supply kits so that we can take care of ourselves until such time as apparently the sun shines and they're able to get supply drops to us. So just a good reminder. We know that quite often we think of ourselves as on our own out here, and that the need to be prepared and to help one another, and the fact that we have this great work being done with emergency management doesn't change that, certainly in a short-term scenario. So thank you for that. Appreciate it, Randy. Okay, we have with us, as it is the first Tuesday of the month, we have Bill Jablonski with the Oregon Department of Transportation. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Commissioner Scar. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Well, thank you, and hello to Tillamook County. I am Bill Jablonski. I am the ODOT area manager here for the Tillamook area, based out of Astoria. A couple of updates for everybody. First of all, I'd like to commend the folks in Tillamook County driving on our local roads up there, who really are observant on when they find debris and hazards on the side of the road. I've noticed a number of posts on social media. Unfortunately, ODOT doesn't monitor the social media posts that are on there. We just don't have staff to monitor every group that's out there. I do want to pass along a number directly to ODOT that you can call in hazards. It is a non-emergency number, and it's to our Salem dispatch office. And the number is 503-362-0457. Again, that's 503-362-0457. Working with Mark Buffington, the district manager, we're going to put together a plan on setting up some signs around Tillamook County that people are driving around. They'll have an opportunity to kind of jot down that number. We don't want to have people driving around, texting on social media when they come across a tree down or rocks in the travelway, but we do appreciate the folks are observant and calling those out and being safe for everyone. And we think providing a number to ODOT directly so we can get our crews out there in less time than we see it on social media might be a good thing for everyone, for the traveling public. So I pass that along to you guys. I also want to bring up to your attention our Oregon 6 Safety Committee, or safety study that is ongoing right now. We're going to have opportunity for folks to meet in person. We have one scheduled for February 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's going to be at the Port of Tillamook Bay, the main conference room out there on Blimp Avenue, I believe it is. I'll send more information and links for the records, for the notes for this meeting, so people can get it on the county's website as well too. And the purpose of the in-person open house is to share the corridor issue summary that was developed with both the Stakeholder Advisory Committee and the Technical Advisory Committee. We hope to have members of both of those committees at the open house as well too. So please plan to bring or come in accordingly and come in person if you wish. If you'd also like to participate online, that actually starts on the 9th this week and runs till March 10th. If you want to participate in that same open house, the same displays, the same information will be shared on the online versus in person. You're not going to miss one or the other, although you will miss that nice social interaction getting together with your peers on the 16th. Also, I want to bring up, every 2 years, the Oregon Department of Transportation puts together a project list for future projects. We call it the STIP, the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program. Years ago, we used to get together in person and we would share upcoming projects for future STIP cycles. Well, we're back now, starting with this year. We're going to have an in-person open house for Tillamook County for the 2024-2027 projects identified for Tillamook County. It's going to be, again, at the Port of Tillamook Bay, and it's going to be March 23rd from 4 to 6 p.m. And there's also going to be an online option as well, too, where people can go in and leave comments on that as well, too. But the in-person one will have ODOT staff there. You can talk with ODOT staff directly. You can leave comments with us and certainly have some refreshments while you're there as well, too. That's all I have for my update, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Questions for Bill? Okay, not hearing any. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the updates, and I encourage people to grab a hold of that phone number that he suggested, and let's make sure we keep ODOT informed as well as one another relating to hazards on the highway. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move on to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bell, I did see you on here, I believe.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning.
I wanted to mention for a moment that Tillamook County Solid Waste has something interesting and exciting going on. You don't usually think of interesting and exciting in the same sentence as solid waste, but this really is interesting. For folks who recycle, you may remember in 2017 when China stopped buying our recycling material. So up until that time, we could recycle all kinds of things like plastics through number 5, etc. But China stopped buying our recycling material in 2017, and so that kind of threw recycling into a crisis. And DEQ at that point started convening meetings to figure out what are we going to do about this in Oregon. The result of that was passage of some legislation in 2021 called the Recycling Modernization Act, and out of that came something called Extended Product Responsibility Systems in Oregon that will go into effect in 2025. But there's something exciting happening right now, which is with that legislation and that planning comes the opportunity for infrastructure dollars to build and modernize our recycling facility centers. And so as part of the process, every city and county in the state has the opportunity to request funds and assistance for infrastructure. So on the 14th, in Valentine's Day, here in Tillamook County, there's going to be a community meeting, and Dave McCall, who's the manager of solid waste in Tillamook County, does an extraordinary job, shout out to Dave, is organizing a system or a community discussion. He's hoping that people from representatives from all of our cities, interested recyclers, people from the county, that everyone who has any interest in recycling will get together and come to this meeting on the 14th. It's at 2:30 at the Partners for Rural Innovation building, which is the newer college, TVCC College building out on 3rd, at 2:30 in rooms 105 and 107. And we strongly encourage anyone who has any interest in recycling to come to this meeting, including folks from the cities, folks from unincorporated areas, because it's an opportunity for us to come together as a community and do something. Often, people may or may not know that often cities are autonomous governments, so cities don't always operate in tandem with the county because they don't have to. They are their own governments. But this is an opportunity for us to come together and build a county-wide system, and it's really very exciting. So you can check it. You can get the information I just shared and more on the Tillamook County Solid Waste Facebook page, or on the website, or you could call. And so please put that on your calendars. The 14th at 2:30 at the Partners for Rural Innovation building. And I also just want to mention that we will not be on this call next week because your commissioners will be representing Tillamook County in Washington, D.C. So with that, I'll sign off. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bell. Let's move on to Commissioner Yamamoto.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Things have been busy around here. There's no doubt about it. So I am co-chair at AOC, Association of Oregon Counties. I'm co-chair of Governance, Revenue, and Veteran Steering Committees. So as Commissioner Scar mentioned earlier, Friday we had a series of 3 steering committee meetings. Monday we were actually in Salem, and they were great meetings. So there are over 4,000 bills ready to be dropped in Salem. This is going to be one of those years, although I will say that all the departments and agencies in the state have their hands out for additional monies over what was approved in the last biennium budget. We just all need to understand that in Salem, this biennium, there's $3.5 billion less money to deal with. Simply because the federal government has quit sending all this money to local governments. So unfortunately, many of these departments and agencies are going to be dearly concerned that they're not going to get all the money they're asking for. The governor has actually asked for a 10% budget cut from each department. So this is going to be an interesting budget year. With that said, we continue to monitor, again, over 4,000 bills that are scheduled to be dropped in this legislative session. Governance, Revenue, and Veterans have looked at quite a few of them. We've looked at HB 2088, Assessment and Taxation. So over the years, the state has funded roughly 33% of assessment and taxation departments around the state. But after 2007, the state share was reduced to around 12%. So now there is this bill, House Bill 2088, that hopes to bring those funding resources back to assessment and taxation. Of course, when the state reduces from 33% of funding to 12%, local governments like the counties have to pick up that difference. So that's a bill that we have supported. There are several public records bills before the legislature, SB 160 and SB 417. They're looking for public bodies like counties and municipalities to reduce fees by 40% for public records requests. You have to understand that anytime a city or a county has a public records request, it costs money to do the research. The emails normally have to be looked at individually to make sure there is nothing sensitive in those emails. It does cost a lot of money because normally it's in Tillamook County, it's our county council that has to look at each and every email that is requested from a public records request. So that just doesn't make sense to us. There are several bills out there. I won't go into them all. Veterans bills, there are several that we're watching, two of them that we supported. SB 263 expands tuition benefits available to disabled veterans, as well as HB 2295, which broadens public contracting preference for businesses that service disabled veterans-owned to include all veterans-owned businesses. We are absolutely in support of our veterans, especially in Tillamook County, but all across the state of Oregon. We appreciate the service that you have performed. House Bill 2049, the Oregon Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. So here's an area where, as a member of OBAC, the Oregon Broadband Advisory Council, I am intimately involved. I'm actually on the Oregon Cybersecurity Task Force, and we have a story to tell here in Tillamook County. As you remember, I think this was back in November of 2019, we got hacked. And our systems were down for almost a week, and it took us a long time after that to fully recover. We've spent a lot of money there. So cybersecurity all across the state of Oregon. So the story that we tell in Tillamook County has really gotten the attention of municipalities and counties from across the state. And they are really looking to update their systems. As Tillamook County had to do, we've spent a lot of money since that hack to strengthen our systems. So this Oregon Cybersecurity Center of Excellence to me is an important part of what we do in Oregon. And believe me, Tillamook County is not the only county, city, or state agency to get hacked. We're very open with our hack, and it's a teaching experience. It's a learning experience. So this Oregon Cybersecurity Center of Excellence to me is very important. So we have supported HB 2049. At the same time, there's another bill, and I don't have it in front of me. Currently, with all the work that we've done to harden our systems, add new software to make sure it's more difficult to be hacked, making sure that we have off-site storage of data, things of that nature. Currently, in Oregon, and this goes back to public records requests, anybody can ask Tillamook County or any other municipality or state for records relating to how they protect their systems. That makes absolutely no sense at all. So there is a bill out there that would not allow that type of security information to be asked for and demanded in a public records request. So there's another that we talked about for veterans, and this is just a legislative concept, LC 3770, which is a disabled veterans property tax exemption. And this is absolutely something AOC agrees in, but the problem with the way this legislative concept was written, it's a property tax exemption. So guess who pays for that? It's the counties and cities and special districts, because it's a property tax issue. So we support LC 3770, except we ask them to change the support mechanism to a tax credit from the state of Oregon. Veterans would still receive the same preference here, except instead of the effects going to the counties and cities and special districts within our counties, it would be paid for by the state, which really just makes a whole lot of sense to everyone involved. So we'll see where that goes. Again, that is strictly a legislative concept at this point. So 2806, I've already discussed this one. So there was one other that we looked at, and it was HB 2296. And it would allow PERS employees to hire PERS retirees without limitation and at the same time allow them to re-enter the PERS system, even though they had retired once. Again, we have no problem with that. It should help employment situations. But one of the issues we saw was that it probably needed a sunset. And so we supported HB 2296, except we added a 5-year sunset to this. So after 5 years, it would have to be reauthorized to see how the program works, what the cost might be, and if it's actually needed. Today, it's absolutely needed because of the problem everyone has in hiring people across the state. So we feel that would work very well. There is one other, a veterans bill. I'm sorry, this is not a veterans bill. This is a marijuana funding bill, HB 2089. So here's an area that when ballot measure 110 was passed to collect taxes and things from people that grow and sell marijuana, it was promised that the counties and the cities would get 10% of this revenue. Well, as things went on, and it has happened very quickly, the cities and counties continue to get 10%, but we're only getting 10% of half of the marijuana revenue. So herein lies a problem. So what HB 2089 does, it changes that formula again. And rather than us getting just 5% of all marijuana revenue, we're going to get back to the 10%, which was originally promised to us when all of this happened. So this went through for support, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where this legislative session goes. So when we talk about the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, again, I'm a member of OBAC, Oregon Broadband Advisory Council, as well as the Oregon Cybersecurity Task Force. They have asked me to come to Salem, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow in the afternoon, to testify before the subcommittee. It's a joint subcommittee in Salem. So I am happy to do that, and we hope to make some movement on that. At the same time, I'll talk about how public records requests for the information about how we protect our systems. I'll also be talking about that. So with that, it's been a busy few days. Getting ready to go to DC on Friday, and we've got some great appointments set up with Senator Merkley, Senator Wyden, as well as Congresswoman Bonamici's staff. So as we move forward, we will stay very busy. And with that, Chair Scar, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Okay, I will bring my own comments in here. I also was at AOC both Friday and Monday for the different steering committees, and I am the co-chair of the Transportation and Community Development Committee. I will not give as in-depth a report on the many bills that we looked at as Commissioner Yamamoto did, but I will just sort of highlight there are 3 areas that we looked at in our committee and bills related to them. One of them was county fairs. That falls underneath our areas in this committee. And there are 4 bills currently in the legislature that seek to lift a $1.53 million cap on the allocations from administrative services to our local county fairs. So that is obviously something that we are in support of. We would love to see more money come from the state to our county fairs to assist them with the many projects that are needed on county fairgrounds. So that is one section that we did move for approval. There were a whole bunch of bills related to land use that we also took positions on. The majority of those were to support those, and those went from everything for removing certain pieces of land from a buildable lands inventory, such as golf courses and or wetlands or unbuildable areas. That would assist our local cities if they wish to move their urban growth boundary. They would have a better chance at proving that all the lands inside of it have been used to their highest effort. So we did move to approve on that one. There were some other ones that were around funding mechanisms. There was a tax credit one that would allow a tax credit for developers who are building that middle housing that we talk about so often, and we feel like that's a great opportunity, and it's an opportunity for the state to foot the bill on that with a tax credit rather than rolling it for the property tax abatements that we are currently using. So we're hopeful that that one will move forward. There were a couple unsighting rural ADUs that we actually did not take a position on. We're going to let that work its way forward and see whether the idea of siting them on an acre or on a half acre sort of moves forward, and just do a little bit more sort of testing of the waters in our own communities before we take a position on that. So lots going on, as Commissioner Yamamoto said, and we continue to engage at AOC to be able to make sure the voice of Tillamook County is informing the bills that are being supported by AOC, and that we are testifying for or against the ones with the greatest impact. So very busy couple of days there, but very worthwhile. Couple of other things just to touch on. This past week, I was able to partner with Sarah Absher, our Director of Community Development, to sit down with our city managers locally, talk with them about some development things, some land use issues, some different pieces that are important as we work to bring housing to Tillamook County. So it was a fabulous meeting. I really appreciate the partnership with our cities, and I just want to give them a shout out and a thank you for attending and just being willing to have open dialogue with a lot of truth about how we can work together and where we're running into roadblocks that maybe we can work together on. So that was great. I also sit on the board for the Pioneer Museum, and I hope that everyone in our community is familiar with the Pioneer Museum. I hope you have visited more than once, because it's a great museum. It's right across the street from the county here, if you're not familiar with it, across from the courthouse in the original county courthouse, I believe. And sitting on that board, we started to do the beginnings of a strategic planning process for the Pioneer Museum. The museum recently appointed a new director. Peyton was our director of collections, and when our previous director, Jake, left, we moved her into an interim position. She's done a fabulous job and is now the director of the Pioneer Museum. So I just encourage you to stop by the museum, check out what's going on over there, and we will look forward to sharing with you sort of the vision of the future of that museum. But just to give a shout out to the Pioneer Museum doing great work. We've already talked about the ODOT open house, so just a reminder on that one that, as Bill Jablonski said, on February the 16th from 5 to 7 at the Port of Tillamook Bay will be an in-person opportunity to talk with ODOT about Highway 6, about the safety issues that you see on Highway 6 that we want to make sure get into the study that is being done that will be presented to the legislature. So be sure to keep your eye out for that. Also mentioned already, but I will remind us once again that all of your commissioners will be in Washington, D.C. beginning next Friday, so we will not have this community call. You also won't see us at a couple of what may appear to be key community meetings because we are simply not in county, but we will get the information, for example, on the recycling meeting that's happening. We will unfortunately all be out of town for that one, but we will get the updates from David McCall and put in our 2 cents as well. So with that, I'm going to move us on to the cities so that we can hopefully roll right through by 9 o'clock. So, City of Manzanita, Layla.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Just a few quick announcements. We have our normal city council meetings tomorrow, February 8th, starting at 3 p.m. with our work session, and 6 p.m. for our regular session. We have our second destination management meeting. NAN Dublin and TCVA held our first one last week. It's a great success, so the second one will be held at the Pine Grove Community Center at 2 p.m. on the 9th. And then finally, I just want to note for the community, I'll be posting a meeting tomorrow for a City Hall presentation, special meeting with City Council on the 15th of February. And I'd like to use the rest of my time this morning to make an announcement and to thank our Chief of Police, Eric Harps. Eric celebrates 20 years with the City of Manzanita this month. Eric became the city's police chief permanently in February of 2010, though he did serve in an interim role since August of 2009. When Eric was appointed the position, the local paper, the Herald, said it might be a spell before the city has to hire a replacement. And as the city manager, I'm grateful that has actually come true. Eric's first priority when he became chief was really to keep his team long-term. And we have a wonderful team here that is both visible and loved by our community. One of his officers, 6 years, said he has a deep trust in Eric's decision-making, and his process and his code of ethics, and that Eric engages in discussion and learning so that they may become more rounded police officers. A 10-year veteran of our department told me that he planned to leave actually after 5 years, which I don't think is very uncommon, where folks kind of get trained up and then they go out to other departments. He's about to hit 10 years here, and he credits a lot of that to the leadership of his chief. An officer that we've had here for almost 13 years says it's his connection to the community, and the community support and love of our department is reflective of how Chief Parth treats his team. He's a humble man and a great leader. My experience working with Chief Parth over the last almost 2 years is that he's steady, and his leadership and his support of his team are evident in terms of the quality of resources that we provide for our community. He's sharp. He's good at the paperwork and the budget, and he's got an eagle eye. And so I always look to Eric for those kinds of details. He's a confidant and an advisor, so I do look to Eric for support when I'm needing some context and advice, given that he's been here for so long. I also just want to note that, when folks serve in these roles, as our police officers do, they give up a certain amount of personal privacy to serve, and it really takes a special person to dedicate their life to this kind of service, because they really are on 24/7. So I just wanted to take this moment and opportunity to thank Chief Parth for the team that he has developed here and continues to develop, and for the services that he provides our community. And I look forward to working with him, I hope, for more years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. Appreciate the update. Okay, I'm going to move right on to Rockaway Beach. Do we have Mayor Charles McNeely with us?
Yes, good morning from Rockaway Beach.
Good morning.
I do have a few items to share this morning. Like our neighbors to the south, Rockaway Beach has an open seat on its council. The council will decide on the process for filling the vacancy at the council workshop tomorrow at 5 p.m. at City Hall. Our Big Tree Boardwalk was damaged during the December windstorm, unfortunately, and had to be closed. At our council meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m., the council will vote on a resolution to fund the repairs. The good news is that the city had the foresight to buy insurance, so the repairs will be fully covered. Additionally, interpretive signs are now installed as part of our partnership with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association. Once the boardwalk is reopened, please come and enjoy the enhanced experience. Additionally, ODOT awarded Rockaway Beach $750,000 through ODOT's Community Paths Grant Program for Salmonberry Trail project design. Our council will hear at tomorrow's council meeting a presentation from Destination Management Advisors on their recommendations for public outreach and project management. This effort will be a large and long-term improvement project for Rockaway Beach and has created a lot of buzz in town. Council is also going to consider a memorandum of understanding with the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad for improvements in Rockaway Beach downtown at South First Avenue near the Wayside. Work to be performed in April, followed by a paving overlay as soon as asphalt is available. This will enhance the visitor and resident experience when driving to the Wayside in Rockaway Beach. And then last, Rockaway Beach is bringing back Laura Schmidt as event coordinator for the 2023 4th of July Parade and Fireworks. Last year's event was a huge success, and so we're excited to have her back as our event coordinator. That's all, folks.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We appreciate that. We're very excited about the pathway work that's happening and just the updates you're able to do with the Oregon Coast Railroad. All of that is right in that Salmonberry corridor, and we so Salmonberry Trail corridor, and so appreciate the partnership. Okay, moving on. Garibaldi, Mayor Tim Hall.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. We can.
Yes, Garibaldi has nothing to report this week. Everyone have a good week. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Keeping up that nice, small, quiet community of Garibaldi. Nothing to report. We love it. Okay, I did not see Mayor David McCall, but I'm going to give a shout out in case he's using a different number.
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Ah, you are. Thank you. Please give us your update.
Yeah, sorry, I dialed in from somewhere else this morning. So I would just like to, because there's no call next week, I'd like to report next week on Tuesday, that's 14th, our city council members will be spending their Valentine's Day with the love of their lives, the city of Bay City, as we have our regular city council meeting starting at 6 o'clock. And one of the things on the agenda, so how we'll start off, is a public hearing on an ordinance to authorize a partial tax exemption to multifamily housing units providing workforce housing. So this is something that already passed by the city of Manzanita, as far as I know, and we were waiting for the county to update their ordinance for us to actually introduce those changes, which are very similar to the counties. So we will have a public hearing on that next week on Tuesday evening. And I'd also like to bring up that the following Tuesday, the 21st at 5:30, we will have our Emergency Preparedness Committee meeting. It's normally the third Monday of the month, but because of President's Day, it will be on Tuesday this week. So ask everybody to think about being, prepare yourselves and think about it and help our community prepare ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Tillamook City Manager Nathan George.
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning. We can.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Wanted to provide a few updates on our council meeting last night. We had our regular first council meeting of the month. The minutes were approved from the previous meeting, and we also had a presentation by the Tillamook Revitalization Association. They are working on putting together they put together a proposal. This is the beginning of the proposal to enter into a contract with the city to redo their banner program they had in the past. In the past, they had a program to put up these fabric banners, which didn't last very long. So they're working on a proposal, which the council had consensus to move forward on, of having up permanent banners that are made from like an aluminum, that they are wind resistant. They look, the prototype that they had looked really nice. So the city's excited about that. Excuse me. We didn't actually hold the first reading. We had the first discussion on an ordinance reenacting all the city's code of ordinances. So the city code had not been codified since 2019, which means that all the ordinances and resolutions has not been put into the form of a code book. Those have now been put into a form of a code book, and from now on they will be updated each time the council approves any type of law changes, an ordinance or resolution. However, part of that process is to re-adopt the entire code book going forward. So the city is working on that. We're excited to be moving forward on that. Also, our council president was appointed by the mayor last night, and our new council president this year is Councilor Reynolds, so Brian Reynolds. We also had the mayor's and city managers updates, and just a couple highlights from those. To better serve our customers, City Hall, which I announced last week. City Hall includes our planning department, finance department, human resources, city utilities, city recorder's office, and city manager's office. We have now shifted to be open an additional 2 hours per day, Monday through Thursday. So we open now at 7:30 and we close at 5:30, Monday through Thursday. We will be open this Friday because of the previous bills that went out to have our utility payments due on this Friday. So we will be open this Friday, but from now on we'll be open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30. And the number one reason is to provide better customer service to our public. We have a lot of people coming in the evenings wanting to pay their bills, and we're already closed. And we have very, very few traffic on Fridays. So we're excited about that transition. Also, during the next 30 days, if anyone needs to, we can be available for appointments on Friday, so we're happy to do that as well. We ask you to please call or check our website for more information. I had a request come in probably a year and a half ago from ODOT to do a repair on 4th Street and Pacific Avenue. As you may have known, there's some chunks on the pavement kind of falling out, falling apart. And we've been working with ODOT. We just met last week with them, the Public Works Director and I. And due to the complications of that intersection, because it's got traffic light sensors on the bottom, they can't just completely rip out the and repair it as you would unless they had a situation, a lot of money, and it's a newer intersection. But they will come in this summer, and they will do some patching on that. Mayor Burris gave a shout out last night to several citizens, one who's been helping go around and clean out the tops of storm drains, and also a resident and his wife that went and cleaned up trash on ODOT right-of-way, Oregon Department of Transportation right-of-way, near the southern entrance of the city. So we really appreciate our help with our citizens. Councillor Henson has approached the council about putting together a Veterans Memorial Plaza right on the state property that used to be the Shell gas station there on the corner of, kind of the corner, it's a triangle, Pacific Avenue, Main Avenue, and First Street. So the council's given its consensus, and he and I and our Director of Public Works met with ODOT, and we were looking at ways he can do that. So he's working on a project which the council's supporting. So that will be exciting. It's the first major Veterans Memorial that we have. There's a very small one at the post office station, and that's all there is in Tillamook. So we're very excited about that. Also, something that Councillor Henson had reiterated last night, we've also had Councillor Hopkins and many other councillors, Councillor Sandusky, have talked about the importance of signing up for the home warranty, water, sewer, and indoor plumbing that you may sign up for. The City of Tillamook endorses a partnership with the Service Line Warranties of America that is also endorsed by League of Oregon Cities. And for that warranty, less than $10 a month per service line, your warranty to your property owners, you can have coverage for your sewer lateral line to $8,500, your water lateral line to $8,500, and your indoor plumbing up to $3,000. And that is from the point of connection to the city all the way to your home, up to $8,500 per call, unlimited calls. We've already had a lot of people save money and sign up. We had a lot of people who didn't sign up who have spent $8,000 or so on the repairs. So once again, it's a reputable company. It's international. They have a lot of money because they're in a lot of cities, and the small cities like us were just a drop in the bucket, and they were able to help us. Highly encourage you to sign up for that. Police Department has been working with the Health Department and Public Works to apply for an HIV/STD special needs funding application. We were approved. The city was approved for a $3,000 cost to order wall-mounted sharps disposal containers for parks in Tillamook. So we're very excited to be putting those in for sharps disposals. Lieutenant Troxel was awarded his middle management certificate through the Department of DPSST, Department of State Standards and Training. This is the second highest level of police certification you can achieve in Oregon. We are now working on obtaining his executive police certification. We're very excited for that. Appreciate his hard work and leadership. The police department has applied to the Tillamook People's Utility District for a grant to purchase and install a backup generator for the PD to help us perform our essential tasks during a power outage. As I talked about in the past, when we had the power outage here about a month ago, we don't have a lot of backup. We have very little backup, actually, and it's a significant problem since we have to back up all the water and sewer, as well as the police services, which are the main ones. And so we are working on doing that. We're excited to apply for that grant, and we hope that the TPUD will consider us. Chief Rao participated in a panel for the Tillamook School District Superintendent Search Focus Group with other community stakeholders. Chief Rao and our traffic officer Vanderhoff participated in a panel of law enforcement with the Johns Hopkins University project teams. We're excited about that. And remember, when it comes to police or anything emergency, if you see something, please say something by calling 911 or the non-emergency dispatch. Again, as I think it was discussed, posting on social media is not a trusty issue. It doesn't get us anywhere. We can't help. In the Public Works Department, staff plans on sweeping the streets downtown this week. You'll notice the sweeper has been out a lot more, and that's because we're starting to fill our positions. Please be mindful of the street sweeper to ensure safety. Our wastewater treatment crew is working on a temporary pumping solution for the lift station that was destroyed in December's storm. The city suffered a failure of one of our major lift stations on Meadow Avenue. We're currently in bypass mode, and the failure of this lift station could result in a major crisis for the wastewater system. Fixing this is a top priority for us to ensure the proper treatment of our wastewater. Our water treatment crew is working on several leaks and basic operations this week. Several staff members are participating in the Oregon Occupational Safe and Healthy Administration, known as Oregon OSHA required training this week. That's really important that our employees are trained to be able to better serve the public. Just a reminder, Public Works crews operate from 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And to reach an on-call person during after hours, just call our main number, or you can call 503-842-2343. Always remember, if you have a question about it, you can just simply call City Hall on the internet. Find the number, we'll help you. And also a reminder that we have an email, Public Works at tillamookor.gov, that you can reach with any questions or inquiries. It's just publicworks at tillamookor.gov. City is still selecting applications for several other positions, please check our website for updates or call our HR department. You may also stop by City Hall. City has a vacancy in the city's budget committee. City has 2 large member vacancies for the Tillamook Urban Renewal Planning and Justification Committee and the Contract Committee, and City has 2 vacancies on the Tillamook City Planning Commission, so you can always contact us about all those different vacancies. And finally, the last council meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 21st. It'll be on Tuesday because of the observance of the holiday on on Monday, February 20th at 7 p.m. We encourage anyone who'd like to please attend or be there in person or online. And that's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that. All right, South County, Doug Olson. Doug, what's happening in South County?
Well, good morning, Commissioner. As Senator Weber pointed out, we do have a chamber meeting today at 12 noon at the Kiowanda Community Center. And, one of the great things about Oregon, it's pretty easy to get out into the woods and get off the beaten path, as a lot of us do. I can remember going down the side of a cliff with a rope to a fishing hole in my younger days. But a lot of people can't do that. So our program today is all about accessibility off the beaten path. So we've got a couple of people, Dan Haig from the Visitor Association here in Tillamook County, talk about some accessibility work they're doing. And then we have a gentleman by the name of Kirk Mickelson, who's a retired lieutenant colonel. He heads up an organization called David's Chair. And that's a group that arranges for off-road vehicles, small vehicles, and not just the ATVs that you see. These actually have a track on them like a tank. And so for folks who have mobility problems but would love to get out in the woods and take a trip up some trail somewhere, this may be a solution. So we're going to hear about that today and see if we can bring a few more people and provide some accessibility across our wonderful state. So 12 noon today at the Kiowanda Community Center, and that's about it for this week, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that. All right. With that, I'm going to say my thanks to KTIL for broadcasting, everyone for attending, and we will adjourn this meeting at 9:06 a.m. Have a